Hey everybody. I wish I didn't get so weak. What happened? Oh, my music died. Well, welcome back to welcome back to the part 2 of the first video that I made. So just to recap, so my first video was about the first day of my MEPS experience. So getting to the recruiter's office, the drive there, taking the ASVAB, getting shuttled to the hotel, staying at the hotel, and basically staying at the hotel, getting woken up, eating dinner, having breakfast. And where I left off is where we were herded off the bus and very militarily styled, gotten together in formation. So once the sergeant was done getting us into formation, she separated everyone who was actually going to be going to boot camp from everyone who was just there for their medical. So we got separated. So once she was done with us, she took the people who were going to boot camp off, and then we had another sergeant come in, and he is the one who came and asked anybody got any weapons, anybody got any contrabands, anything like that. So like I was saying in the first video, there's always somebody. So we had a guy who had a Swiss Army knife. Someone did ask if a shaving razor was okay, and they were fine with that. But they did say to let them know when we went through the metal detector that it was going to be in their possession or whatever. And then we had a couple people give up cigarettes because you can't bring those in to the place at all. So they let us know very seriously that there was no talking, no congregating, no information to be shared between you and another person. Like they didn't want any kind of socialization, I should say, between you and other recruits while in the medical portion of the MEPS building. So we all get herded in. We went through a metal detector system that was much more advanced than the first day. So it took a very long time just to get us all through the door because they really were checking through everything that you had, making sure you weren't bringing anything crazy inside. So we all get inside, just like the first day, we all have to go and put our stuff up really quick. None of this, like one thing I will say, when you go there, I noticed that a lot of people are in like walking in retirement mode, and they're like, walking sluggish, taking their time. And they were getting like yelled out, like, come on, you need to move it faster. So be prepared to scurry. That's the word of the day when you go there is scurry. Everything you do, you're going to have to scurry and do it. You are not going to go there and be leisurely walking around. Like they're going to be like, you need to move now, like fast. So we all put our stuff away and we get sat down in that same DMV type room. And I don't know how they separated us. I was trying to figure it out because everyone had different color files. And I don't know if it was to really throw you off. Like all of these people you would think have this color file and all of these people you would think. But every kind of different person had a different color file. And they put us all in groups. So my group, we went off. We went into this room or whatever to be briefed about what we were going to do that day. Now, the briefing is basically filling out your paperwork, going over your paperwork, making sure everything in your paperwork is correct. It takes a really, really, really long time. Like we were in there, I want to say for almost an hour, 2 hours. So with that being said, they tell you the night before, because I didn't say this before, but no mouthwash or no mouthwash, no nothing really sodium drenched or anything like that, because you could get high blood pressure, and they do a breathalyzer first thing in the morning as well. So if you blow, you could potentially get disqualified for having alcohol on your breath simply from the Listerine or whatever you would be rinsing your mouth out with. So just brush your teeth. That's it. So we get in this room and we're going over all these papers one by one. When I tell y'all that there are some people who are going to be joining the military, and you're gonna see when you go that they cannot follow simple instructions. And this is where you will realize that boot camp is not going to be as bad as you think it is, simply just based off of what it is. It's going to be a little extra because there are going to be people who cannot follow simple directions. So they're like, okay, if you've ever had a red shirt, check box 1. If you've ever had a blue shirt, check box 2. If you've ever had a red and blue shirt, check box 3. You would have people ask, oh, well, I had a shirt that was purple, but then it had a lot of red on it too. So do I check that box for that? Well, was the shirt red? No, it was purple, but it had, okay, then don't put it down because we didn't ask about any shirt that had any other color on it but red. Just red. Red. Red is what we asked, and red is what we asking for. So if it's not red, then don't put it down. Oh, okay. It was so many things that they were just like, it's yes or no questions. But people kept making it, well, if Tuesday was Thursday and I went Friday on a Thursday, was it Saturday? Am I supposed to put Saturday down here? And we were just like, yo, like, could you please just stop just yes or no? The reason why is because as soon as we got done in this room, we were going to go out to our sections. So they explained to you that throughout the day for your medical, you're going to be going to different stops, different rooms, basically. And every room has a different kind of evaluation that you have to get checked off of your medical packet. So you're going to have get your blood drawn, pee test, hearing, vision. You're going to get a physical exam. You're going to get an evaluation from a doctor. You're going to have to do your qualifying exercises. What else was there? And I think that was it. So there wasn't too many, but with the amount of people you have, it's going to be very time consuming. So what happens right after we get out is a lot of us were going to go and have to do the pee first. So the longer it takes you to be in that room, the longer you got to hold your pee. You don't want to pee from the pee you were holding from this morning when you got up. Pee before you leave the room, the hotel. And when you go to breakfast, drink a lot of water. I had like a bottle of water that was like this big. It was like a liter of water and I was chugging it. And you're going to try to time when the best time to drink. I would say drink. You're going to have to drink on the bus ride there because once you get inside, you're not going to be carrying a water bottle around and being able to drink while you're walking around and stuff. Everything like that, you got to throw it out before you get inside. You can drink water once you get in there, but it's going to be faucet water. They let you know it's not like purified water. It's water out of the faucet from some sink and God knows where. I don't know. So the nurse kept having people get up to go to the bathroom. And she's like, look, y'all are going to regret going to the bathroom now because if you don't pee by 10:30, then you're not going to be able to pee today. And you're going to have to come back and pee another day within the next 3 days. So like, she was like, try to hold your pee. Now, we were in there for like an hour and a half, almost 2 hours. So every question that somebody asked that was silly, like it was so annoying because I had to pee so bad. I've never had to pee that bad in my life. So I'm like trying to like get through all of the stuff that we had to go over. And it was just so much just jumble jarble that you felt that you've already told them. You already filled it out with your recruiter, but you got to fill it out again in this packet. So we finally get through it. The first thing that we do there is we blow breathalyzer before you can leave the room. So you blow, she waits for it, checks it, shows you, writes it down, and you're good to go. Which means this. Ain't no you finna blow and then get to go and then realize you can't get any further. Like, you don't blow correct on that first blow with her standing there with you, you're done. You go home. You're disqualified for the day. So make sure you don't make that simple mistake by having any kind of alcohol, anything whatsoever. So then we all go out. So I had to pee so bad. So you don't have to go to pee first, but if you got to pee like I had to pee, that's going to be your first stop. Now, with the pee, yes, ladies, with the pee, you're going to be peeing in front of a person, a woman. And the woman is going to be, I don't know. The woman is going to be watching you, but not like all up in there trying to see what a pee coming out at. But she gonna be looking at you. You're in like a bathroom stall with the door open. So you have to like squat and pee in this like tiny little cup. You're gonna more than likely get pee on your hands because you're fully dressed. It's not like you are gonna like sit down on the toilet, because it's gonna be hard for you to show her you're peeing. So she has to be able to see you peeing. So it is weird, but it's not like terrible. Like, I believe there was like three girls in the bathroom, one in the other stall peeing, one who was just standing in there. I don't know why she was standing in there still. I think maybe she couldn't pee, so she was just still in there. She turned around and faced the other way. Like, she wasn't watching, so it wasn't that bad. But the airman, she wasn't a soldier, she was an airman. But the airman was watching. So it was a little awkward, but it's not too bad. It's just pee. So you pee, and you gotta not flush, not wash your hands. You can't do anything. You just be pissy. And you close your specimen or whatever, and you go and wait. You give it to this woman who is so weird because there's a window in the bathroom that this woman is standing at. And when you get done peeing, you put your specimen up on the counter, and you can't really do anything. You're not supposed to make any kind of movements, nothing. I don't know why they're so like weird about that, but you you put your specimen up there, and then you have to put your hands down. You can't have your hands like up in the window or anything. It's really weird. And then she takes it, she tests it for pregnancy, drugs, everything right there with you in the window. You pass, good. If you don't pass, you're out. You're disqualified. So once you get that done, she's like, okay. She writes it down. You pass. You take your folder. You don't take your folder yet. Hang on. Before you take your folder, you wash your hands, you flush your toilet, and then you leave. So after I did the urine sample, I went and did blood. So blood's not that bad. The little Band-Aid or whatever rubber band they put on my arm was tight as hell. Like, I felt it was gonna freaking crush my arm. Like, I've got big juicy veins. Like, my veins are so big and juicy. So I was like not worried about him not getting blood, but he put that thing on so tight, like my blood was like gushing out of my body when he stuck me. So they do a blood sample, get that from you. I heard that it's better to try to get everything out the way. You don't want to linger and wait, because the faster you get in there to your classifier, the quicker you can pick a job. Jobs go by the second. So you don't want to wait and linger, because then somebody can go in and get the job you want. So I do my blood, then I go do the hearing test. So the hearing test is really weird because it's like in this room where it's in a room, but the room has like this machine. It looks like a time machine or something. It's like this big old, like, I don't know. Machine is all I can think of as far as a word. And inside there's like seats, and they have curtains next to them and little stools. And you put the headphones on, and they lock you in this chamber, is what I should say. It looks like a big chamber. And they lock you in the chamber, and you have to do the hearing test. So with the hearing test, I 100% recommend closing your eyes, taking some deep breaths, not breathing too loud because then you're going to throw everybody else off, but just taking some deep breaths, making sure, if you don't do anything else, that your headphones are on perfectly. You don't want to have them too far back on your ear to where like they're kind of covering parts of your ear. You don't want to have them too far forward where like your ear is getting like closed or covered. You want to have them positioned right in the center. And even if you have to kind of like hold them, just to make sure you're getting all the sound you could possibly get, because the hearing test is pretty difficult. I did perfect on mine. I can hear very well. But the thing about it is you're going to be hearing the sounds are so faint. Like they're really, really faint. Like they're not like sounds. They're like little dinks and like little, just the most silent sounds that you could possibly hear. I love silence and I have it all the time. So whenever I can really identify different sounds just like automatically because I'm normally used to like silence completely. So, but what I can say is I felt like I was going crazy though, because sometimes you feel like you hear stuff, but you're like, am I hearing something, or is my mind like playing tricks on me? Like, is the test over and I'm just like hearing it still? Or like, even if you think you're hearing it, just I'd rather do it 1,000 times and then hear nothing than for it to be ringing off and then I'm like sitting there like I can't hear. Like I'd rather hear too much than not enough. So yeah, and also one thing I watched a video and it was really good idea is when you're gonna hear stuff that you feel like is like outside of the headphones. Hit it, because the headphones are like noise canceling headphones. Nothing gets inside of them. So if you hear something, hit it. So the hearing test takes about, I would say about 10-15 minutes, maybe a little bit longer. So it's a little time consuming, and it was about 7 people in there with me. So you kind of all get done at once. So once I was done there, I went and did vision. So with vision, it was not too bad. I completely failed the depth perception. I was not able to identify which one of those little circles was sticking out, because it doesn't even stick out. It really doesn't. Like it just basically like looks like it's I don't know. I have no idea how to explain it. When you first do it, like the first one is gonna look like 3D. Then the second one is gonna look normal. Like they're not positioned over a little bit more than the other ones. It's supposed to look like more risen up than the other ones, but to me, a couple of them look like that, and I was like, "It's this one," and he was like, "Nope." I failed, but I did good on all the other vision. But I don't have any depth perception. But honestly, nothing that I want to do is dealing with depth perception, so I don't really care. So after I did that, we sat out in the lobby for maybe like, I'll say about 20-30 minutes. This was like the long wait. It was only one kid who was falling asleep, but it's because instead of going to bed the night before, he was swimming or something, he told me. He was one of the kids that came with me, of course, not behaving. And I was like, dude, like, wake up, dude, what you doing? Like, you know, you can't fall asleep in here. And he got talked to. Like, the sergeant came over. He's like, look, you cannot sleep in here. If you need to go to sleep, you need to get up, go. Da, 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 da. Ain't listen. Hard head hard as a rock. Still nodding off. I was like, they're gonna kick you out, and you're not even finna be here no more. I don't know why he was so hard headed about that. So they come in. They call me in for the evaluation with the doctor. So this is the one where your recruiter warns you, like, okay, the doctor is going to ask you if you ever use drugs, and they're going to give you like a Law and Order SUV style interrogation. And you got to be able to say, you've never did this and you've never did that, and you don't have any hidden conditions and all of this stuff. So it was not that bad. I don't know if my doctor was like fond of me or whatever, but she was just really cool. She wasn't like asking me like, oh, you know, because I used to smoke a little something back in the day. And like, she wasn't like that at all. Like, she was just like, have you ever smoked weed? Have you ever done drugs? Have you ever, you know, did this, did that? And I was like, no, ma'am, no, ma'am, no, ma'am. No, ma'am, yes, ma'am. No, ma'am, no, sir, yes, sir. Yes, ma'am. Get used to yes, ma'am, yes, sir, no, ma'am, no, sir, because that's how you're going to have to address everybody there. I already addressed people like that in the real world, so it was not a problem for me at all. So I was just like, no, ma'am, you know, I don't do any of those things. I didn't have a problem with it at all. It went by really quick and I was done. So I went out, maybe waited another 20 minutes, and then it was the big test. Now, listen, if there is not one part of this medical video that you are going to listen to and take heed, it is for these exercises. These exercises. Okay, so they pull in, I want to say maybe like 15 of us into a room. First thing you do is you get undressed into your bra and panties. Bra must be strapless, not strapless, must have straps that clasp in the back, no sports bras, no fancy lace, nothing, just granny panties. I wore like some, they're not boy shorts, they're like brief shorts. They were covering everything basically. Make sure it covers everything. No butt cheeks out. I wouldn't chance any of that. And make sure your bra is the most bland Band-Aid colored bra that you have in your collection. That is the least sexiest bra you have. That clasp in the back. No racer back, no sports bra, nothing unusual. So we all get down in our skivvies and we get weighed. So everyone gets weighed. I go maybe like second to last. And no, I go very last. So there was this other lady who went, and I believe she was 40 years old, y'all. Like I felt old because I'm in my late 20s. But she and everyone else was like, oh, I'm 17, I'm 18, I'm 19. Like I remember being 19 like a million years ago. They were all babies. So she was 40. So I was like, dang, like I didn't know how old she was until afterwards, but I knew she looked like older. So she went up, and I'm telling y'all, the older you get, gravity like weighs down on you and it spreads you out. Cause Shorty had got weighed and she was overweight. So she had to get measured. So they put the measuring tape around your waist, and you have to, your waist has to measure like a certain percentage, and then you can still pass even though your weight is heavier. And I think they do it because the older you get, gravity like hates you. So I weigh, I already knew my thick self was over. So I was over by about 10 pounds. For the Navy, for a female that is 5'6", you have to be 167 pounds. I was 177 pounds. So I know not too much over, but over enough. So she measured my waist. I was gonna pass. I don't have a stomach or anything like that. My stomach is pretty flat, so I didn't have a problem with that part. So we all go. Now for the female examination was next. So once we all got weighed, we were told to go in this little corner that had curtains and get completely undressed and put these paper gowns on. We put the paper gowns on and we get called in one by one. Now, because I was the last one to get weighed, my file was on the top. So I was the first one to get called in there for the Gucci check. Great, right? So I go in there or whatever, and I was already like really weirded out by like, I was like, what is this going to be like? Like, it was really weird. So you go in there and you got to pull back everything, and she checks your boobs, she checks your chest, your abdomen, all that kind of stuff. And then she tells you to basically put your knees up and then like flop your knees out to the side. I don't know how to do it with my arms. So you're exposed. Here's your knees, and then here they are. So yeah, so she goes in and they don't really do no like, you know, feeling and touching and poking and prodding and shaking and all of this stuff. She's just kind of like, whoop, like checks, like, are you a female? Do I see a hole there? Yeah, it's there. Okay. That's it. All right, you're done. Checks you off, you go out. So everyone gets that done. Now for the exercises, y'all. This is where in the video I tell y'all that I thought that I was going to get disqualified. I truly thought I was going to get disqualified. I was really, really afraid. I was very determined going into this. I didn't know what to expect. Like when we went to our recruiter's office that first day, he was like, okay, well, remember they're going to ask you to do the duck walk, the infamous duck walk, y'all, where you squat and you walk like a duck. So we had us do it. Now I had on jeans, and I think when you have on jeans, it's easier to do because the jeans kind of like hold you a little bit and give you a little bit more stability. What he did not tell me is that when you do the duck walk, it's not just you squatting and walking in a squatted position. You have to walk in a squatted position, and your feet, when they hit the ground, have to be heel and then come up onto your toe. It doesn't matter if you're like trying to they have to see that your heel goes down first and that you roll up onto your toe with every step. Your foot has to be like this on the ground. So for someone like me, I have pretty flat ass feet. So if you got flat ass feet, I'm telling you today, take off your clothes, get in your drawers, and get into a squatted position and put one foot forward, other foot forward, and walk across the room. But every step you take, make sure that your heel lands first and that you roll your foot up onto your toe. You have to do that. If you do not do that, you will not pass. So our exercises started with, what did we start with? We started with arms. So all the arm stuff where you're flinging your arms back and flinging them forward, and you're going here and you're doing them back real fast. And, you know, they want to know you got full rotation and motion of your arms, all of that. You're doing the finger test. This isn't bad. This is not bad if you have any just regular mobility. Now, all of the leg stuff is where I got toe up at. So one of our first tests was to get down on your knees and be able to get yourself up off the ground while being in a child's pose. Like you're on top of your calves, on top of your knees, seated basically on top of your legs. And then you have to be able to get up without using your arms, without touching the ground. You can't do any of that. So you have to be able to squat down with your feet and calves flat on the ground, and you got to be able to get up out of that without touching anything. So it took me maybe like 2 tries. Now we had one girl, she could not do it. She wasn't able to do it. So they were like, okay, we're going to wait to the end. You can try it again. But have it in your mind that you done failed it now. So you only got one more shot. And they were generous to give her a shot. So then we did, what did we do after that? We did like another exercise where you have to balance one leg and then like thrust it forward. Now, I don't know what the hell is going on, but I have no kind of balance up in there. I have no balance. So I was like, like every 2 seconds, I was like all over the place. And they were like, Roberts, like, what is wrong with you? Why don't you have any balance? And I'm like, I'm sorry. I thought I had balance before I came up in here, but I don't know what it is about being in here in my drawers, but the wind and the gravity, all of that stuff is fighting me today. I don't know. So I do it. I did it. So we get to the duck walk, y'all. So we do the duck walk. Everybody young and nah. I'm not gonna lie, the 40-year-old lady, she did it too. But when you have an arch in your foot is like this onto a flat surface. So when you do a step, it already looks like your foot is, when you land, that it's not touching in the middle. So when you're flat footed like me, my foot's like this. It's got a little arch, but barely. My foot's like this. So when I land, I was landing like this. And when you step down, all that arch, it goes out. So it looked like I was going like this. Instead of everybody who had an arch, they were going like this. And every step they took, it just looked like they automatically went heel to toe. So for me, I was trying to do it. All right. So here's a tip if you're flat footed, because this is what I really had a difficult time with. I was trying to do it with my hands like right here in front of me, like in a squatted position. And what kept happening is my quads were weak. So I kept getting tired in the middle of it and then having to fall over. And I fell over and I fell over and I fell over. So they were like, Roberts, at the end with other chica, you're going to try it again. She also had a real hard time with it too. And she was a little flat footed too. So I feel like that was our issue. But she got through it. She did it. She was fine. So we did maybe like 2 more exercises. Same thing. Instead of thrusting forward, we had to thrust back. And I had to do the exercises over a couple times because I kept losing my balance. But I got through it. So at the end, homegirl did her stand up. Now she still fell maybe like 2 or 3 more times after that. And I think she thought about what I did, because I almost failed too, but I failed the first time. But the second time, instead of like, you want to roll up and just go up, but when you come up, you can't take a step forward or a step back or a step to the side. You have to be able to come up and just be still. Any step you take, it doesn't count. So what I did is when I came up, I kept my butt back, kept my weight in my butt, and then slowly brought myself up, because I knew that if I roll myself up, I'm going to need to come forward a little bit. So I stopped halfway when I got up to here, held myself tight, core, everything, booty out in the back, and then I stood up, got past that. So I passed that part. Now for this duck walk, I heard her say when I was doing it the first time, they were giving out suggestions or whatever about how this person had did it and what she said. So make sure you are listening to everything, because if I was not listening, I would not have heard her say this and I would not have passed probably. She told about someone who did it, and instead of having their hands here, they put their hands up above their head and did it. You guys, putting my hands up above my head saved my ass from getting disqualified. I was able to balance more. I don't know what it is about being able to put your hands up here, but it allowed all my weight, instead of my weight being here, and so every piece of weight is on my quads. All the weight is right on the quads. When I put my hands up here, it evenly distributed the weight between my calves and my thighs. So I was able to, all right, so everyone else went fast and did it. So I think that's also a reason why I wasn't able to do it. Being pretty damn flat-footed and going fast and having my hands here and having weak quads, it was just a perfect storm of failure and disqualification. So at the end, I put my hands up over my head. I put foot down. I went very slow. Very slow, very slow. I had to put heel down, roll up on my toe. Heel down, roll up on my toe. I had to do it very slow. And when you get to, because you got to go across a space. I want to say it's probably like 10 feet. You got to go there and back. So when you get to one side, you can't just like put your hands down, turn around. You got to get to that other side, turn around in the squatted position and walk all the way back and then turn around again. So believe me, it was tough, but I did it and I got through it, and I was so happy because I was so scared I was going to get disqualified for that. But I didn't, but I damn sure had to get myself together. So after that, we all had to actually. So the thing is, when I went and got my vag checked, I came out and we never had a chance to keep going. Something came up to where all the other girls had to do our exercises first. So I had already done that check and got evaluated. So as soon as we got done with the exercises, I was free to go and everybody else had to stay and get their checks. So I left, put my clothes on, went out. By this time, we had been there since 4 o'clock in the morning. By this time, it was like 2. We had missed lunch, which was 12. So I was like, oh man, they were telling us all the lunch gone, ain't no lunch left. I was like, Lord, we finna die. So we came out and they were like, all right, well, we brought y'all some lunch. I was like, thank you, y'all too sweet, Sable sister, yes. So it was dry. It's the best dry sandwich, cookie, and chips, salty ass chips I have ever had, but it was so damn good. Cookie Monster crumbs was just flying all over the place. I ate everything in there, and I was looking at other people's bag. I'm not gonna lie. I was like, "You finna eat that, man? Like, you ain't finna eat that apple. Give me that apple right now." So we all ate, or what? Well, I ate, and it was like one other girl who like finished really quick too, and we went and ate in the cafeteria, and we came back and had to wait some more. So after we waited maybe like another 30 minutes, then we were called up in order, and you hear them stamp your file like 17 times. And like, all right, you are medically fit to join the military. And you like, yes. Like, it's such a good feeling because you are so nervous that there's going to be this one thing that is going to mess you up because everybody makes you hella nervous. So we got through it. It was not too bad. So now you got to go and sit with the classifier. So for the whole classifier experience, because that is its own beast, I'm not going to go too much into that. I might make a separate video, but I'll say this. So for me, I got a 45 on the ASVAB, which was terrible. I got a 60 on the AFQT. So I was blown away, like, that I had done so bad. I got really low scores in math. Like, my maths were in like the 40s. And I'm like, was I blindfolded in there trying to do this math? Like, it was terrible. Everything else was like really high. I even got high in like electronics, and I didn't even study that. But auto shop, algebra, arithmetic, math knowledge, I got like in the 40s. So it like brought my score like to the floor. So I was already prepared to say, I ain't picking no low job up in here because y'all not finna have me doing no dishes or nothing crazy like that. I'm not above it, but I know that I have really good skills, and I have a lot of good qualities about me that I know that the Navy could utilize in different areas that I would be very successful at. So that's why I had an idea of a direction that I wanted to go. So when I got to the classifier, I got a 45. Now, I went in with my GED. So what I found out when I went to the classifier is that when you have a GED, you have to get at least a 50. So I was not able to pick a job, and I have to go and retake the test. So I was really upset, but at the same time, I was like, well, the fact that I had gotten a 50 anyway was like really sucky. So I wanted a higher score regardless. Now, on the ride back home, I talked to the other 2 kids. Now, one of the kids was a high school senior. And the other kid, I don't think he was in high school anymore. I think he had just graduated or something like that. Okay. So the other kid who was a high school senior, he got a 45 too. Now, I was worried that my 45 was about to get me like some terrible job. And he tells me that he signed on as a corpsman. So I was like, what? You got a 45 and you finna be a corpsman? So I found out that it's not the score you get. Like a 45 just means that you're within the 45 percentile of everybody that day that took the test. But what matters is your actual individual line scores and how they could be added together to qualify you for certain jobs. So if you have a lower score, don't be afraid to go and speak with the classifier, because you might still get a really good job. He's going in as a corpsman and he hasn't even graduated high school yet. So, and I know there are a lot of people who want the corpsman position. So I was like, man, like, see, I was so pissed. I was so pissed that I did not get the 60 that I went in there. Oh, I had actually trajected, because they were like, oh, well, this test is a little easier, or no, this test is a little harder than the actual ASVAB. So I'm like, okay, I'm finna go and take the ASVAB and get like a 65, 70. Like, I'm ready to like kill it. And then when I seen that I had got a 45, I was hurt, y'all. Like, I was like, my whole world was like crushed. And then to find out that I was not able to pick a job and that I have to go back and retest, it was really sucky. But I feel like everything happens for a reason. I didn't necessarily want to go in with a 45 anyway. So I'm just going to study more for my math and go back and take it in 30 days. So this was my MEPS experience. What I would tell anybody who was like me a week ago and who was like super nervous and afraid to go, had just a bunch of worries and doubts, like, don't worry. As long as you just go, do what you're told, prepare in the best way that you can. As long as you can listen and do what you're told, you're fine. You're going to be okay. But if you're going there and you can't listen and you can't scurry and you can't just like do what you're told and keep it together, then you might have a hard time. There were a couple people who were like, had to leave and stuff like that, but they were just like, they weren't fit for the military, period. Like, that this was only like a taste of what boot camp and military life is going to be like. It was nothing difficult. It was just a lot of stress because it's a big day. But don't be afraid. I did still meet with the head classifier guy back there. He was really cool. He was just telling me about how, now look, he did tell me that, like, the Navy, he asked me why I wanted to join the Navy. They're going to ask you why you want to join the Navy in expectation for you to say, because I want to do this, or I want to do this job or this job. So that they can be like, well, guess what? It ain't about what job you want to do. It's about what the Navy needs. And that's understandable. But my viewpoint on it is this. I have been working since I was 15 years old. Now I currently work in human resources. So I have a good job, a good civilian job. I make good money. But I just feel like the Navy is going to open up many more doors. It's something that I really want to do. I see so much honor in it. I want to be a part of just everything that the Navy stands for. I have a couple friends who went into the Navy, and I've seen what it's done for their life. And although there were ups and downs, none of them regret ever making the decision to go into the Navy. And I feel like, what can your job do for you today versus what can the military or what can the Navy do for you? Like, I'm in a good position now, but as soon as I stop performing, or as soon as I, whatever, like, I could be in the same position for the next 5 years and not get anywhere and only be able to still, pay my rent and my bills, but I'm not going to be getting anything else. I'm still going to be paying $45 a week for health insurance and, just not getting any extra money besides paying my bills for college. Like, I just thought about those things and what the Navy has to offer. So that's what drew me toward the Navy, really, is just the benefits, the training, the ability to be able to pay for college. There's a lot of things to it. And I feel like, yes, it's going to be hard. It's not going to be easy, but I personally I feel like I've been underrating myself and not really you know, pushing myself to the point to really see my true potential. And I think that's what the Navy is going to do. Yes, sure, it's going to be monotonous. Yes, sure, there's going to be people who get on your nerves, but it's not going to be any different than when you were in high school, than when you went to your job every day and people got on your nerves. Like, you're not there for them. You're there for you. You're there for your life. You're there for your loved ones. You're there for your family. And you're there to make a better life for yourself. So regardless of what a person thinks, says, is, none of that matters. None of it matters. The only thing you're there for is you. And what a person thinks, says, is, does not sign your paycheck. So none of that makes a difference. So I think I can't wait until the day that I can actually swear in, which I'm calling is going to be in a month. And I am going to be, it's going to be a really proud day for me. And I talked to the kid who swore in as a corpsman, and he was just like so proud. He was so proud and so ecstatic. Now, the other kid, the one who kept falling asleep that I was telling y'all about, he kept falling asleep, I think, because he got really discouraged. It was his second time coming to take the test, and he got a 20 on it. And a 20 is not even like passing. Like, you can't, like, GED or diploma, like, you're not gonna get in. So he now has to wait 6 months to take it again. And like, he was so bummed about it. But I'm like, look, you need to study, because you don't want to just get like the bare minimum to get in anyway. Like, you're obviously needing to push yourself and challenge yourself and put yourself in a position that you wouldn't ordinarily be in, because obviously you have not been studying anything at all or whatever. I don't know. But you got to study. You got to put the effort in and the work in to get something that's worth it. Nothing worth having is going to come easily. So he's going to study. I'm going to study. I've been studying. But if anybody has any other questions, I'm going to be making more videos as time goes on, because I am just really ready for all of this to start. It's something that, you know, I don't know why I didn't think of joining the military earlier in life. I had a lot of complications at the beginning of my adulthood. So it was a lot that I went through. So going to make the decision to join the Navy is probably one of my proudest decisions versus what I could be doing. And I can't wait until I can come back and make another video about how I swore in and talk a little bit about the rating that I chose. So until my next video, peace out.